New data shows that the GOP may be in for a much harder midterm season than already expected after Trump's last-minute flip-flop this week, and it's deepening the divide on the right. We'll get into all that and more in just a moment, but before we do, please subscribe to Raw America and click the like button on this video, as it's the easiest way to support what we do. Getting back into it, President Trump is effectively holding the country hostage, as this week he refused to sign the bipartisan housing bill into law until his precious Save America Act was passed. Never mind the fact that because this bill was so overwhelmingly supported, it will be a law regardless after 10 days, whether Trump signs it or not, but he can't see that as a win. In fact, this was a very rare win for Congress. They came together and overwhelmingly passed this housing bill, which would address the affordability crisis that millions of Americans are facing head on. And it also will make sure that private equity firms don't go around buying up all the housing. Affordability is the thing that Trump thinks is a hoax, but I'd think it was a hoax too if I was corrupt as any of these cartoon supervillains in this administration. No. Instead, he wants the Save America Act passed to make it harder for Americans to vote and, by proxy, take him and his goons out of office. We'll get into the broader reactions of this move. Spoiler, everybody hates Trump for this. But let's start with the hard numbers and talk about why this has set the GOP back even more than they already were.
All right, happening now, we're waiting to see what happens with the bipartisan housing bill passed by both chambers of Congress that the president abruptly decided not to sign yesterday, and he called it minor legislation. It's designed to get to affordability, making housing more available. CNN chief data analyst Harry Yetton is with us this morning. So, affordability. The president seems to think the housing bill is not important. Has the affordability issue just gone away?
You know, if I was a Republican member of Congress and I'm listening to President Trump, the only words that enter my mind are, oh, God, no, what are you doing? And that is because the issue has not gone away at all. Google searches for affordability. Look at this. Up 500% this week versus the pre-2026 average. In fact, Johnny B., they reached, you have it going across the top of your screen, reached an all-time, well, I couldn't get the pen. There we go. All-time high this week. So no, the issue of affordability isn't going away. There's a reason why Republicans wanted this legislation not just passed, but signed into law by the President of the United States, because this is the issue, of course, that got Donald Trump elected in the first place, and they want to be able to give their voters something, their members of Congress something, so that the voters, perhaps, don't vote him out of office come November.
Affordability, an all-time high for searches this week?
All-time high this week. Affordability.
On the week that he decided not to sign the housing bill.
Great politics.
He ran on affordability,
yes,
right? In terms of fulfilling those election promises, how's the president doing?
Okay, so you see affordability up 500% in terms of people searching on Google, an all-time high. This comes back to the issue we've spoken about over and over and over again. President Trump got elected to bring down inflation, got elected to fix the economy in the voters' minds. And do they think he's keeping his campaign promises? No. Oh, God, no. Trump kept his 2024 campaign promises. You go back to April of 2025 among voters, the bare majority, but a majority nonetheless, 52% said yes. 47% said no. That 52% down into the ground now. Now it's 40%. While that percentage who said no, it's up. Now it's the clear majority. 55% say that Trump is not keeping his campaign promises. So when he is off yesterday, not signing that bill to help make housing more affordable, instead talking about the SAVE Act, this is what they're talking about. President Trump taking his eyes off the ball and not keeping his 2024 campaign
Which
promises.
party do people trust more to deal with these issues?
Yeah, this is the reason why Republicans in Congress simply wanted this legislation not just passed, but signed into law, because the buck is going to stop with them come the 2026 midterm elections, because President Trump is not on the ballot. Trusted more on the cost of living. You go back to January of the beginning of this year, it was the GOP by point. Look at this. This is the trend that makes Republicans in Congress shake in their boots, because it is one thing if President Trump has low approval ratings on inflation. The question, of course, is will it funnel its way down ballot? Information like this, data like this says that absolutely will. And now Democrats lead on the issue. They got President Trump reelected in the first place, simply put, because they don't think the President of the United States is keeping his campaign promises, and will absolutely take it out on Republicans.
In election after election, Americans vote with their wallets more than any other issue. You've heard me say this in tons of videos on this channel, but you don't even need to hear it from me. You can see it with your own eyes. Joe Biden couldn't get the country back on track to pre-COVID metrics in his 4 years, so Americans picked somebody else. Would have loved for that person to not been Trump, but hey, them's the breaks. And the issue of affordability is perhaps the one thing that Democrats and the GOP can agree on, but the outright negative reaction to this move from the right still shocked me.
This housing bill, it was bipartisan, and it was seen as a way that it was going to help out potentially young homebuyers who can't afford it right now. Do you think there's any political risk here in canceling this ceremony just at the behest of the Save America Act? This is something everybody wanted.
Exactly. When Fox News isn't sucking up anymore, you know it's bad. It was even reported that Republican Senator Bill Cassidy got into a shouting match with Trump over the housing bill and the Iran War Powers Act. Cassidy was quoted to say, "I make no apologies for standing up to the president," if you will, trying to demand that more information be shared with the Senate and more information be shared with the American people. I make no apologies for that. And if somebody tries to bully me into not asking that question, I'm not going to accept that either. I'm sticking up for the American people, even if I'm speaking to the president. Cassidy is on his way out after losing his primary to, you guessed it, a Trump-backed candidate. But what did Trump have to say for himself after not signing the housing bill into law?
Go ahead.
Buying a home is unattainable for so many Americans. Is this election legislation more important to you than resolving the housing crisis?
This is, every election's important. We're doing very well. They want a lot of communists to come in. I'm saying it a little bit differently, but the people that they're pushing are communists, and this country is not going to have communists. Thank you very much.
You know what? Next time your significant other asks you to do something you don't want to do, just say communist. Hey, honey, can you take out the trash? I'm on the phone with my mom.
Nope, that woman's a communist. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I don't even know what communism means, but I like the way it feels in my tummy when I say it.
It's all self-interest. That is where the buck stops and starts for Trump. Meanwhile, Americans continue to deal with the aftermath of every misstep this administration has taken. Even for folks in areas that strongly supported Trump, and the tide just continues to turn on him. But don't take my word for it. Here's a heartbreaking clip of a woman dealing with the effects of SNAP and Medicaid cuts.
Not into politics, but I know what's right and what's wrong.
And what's wrong right now?
The way Trump is treating us, and treating us poor people. I mean, it's bad because he's never been poor. He's always had that gold spoon in his mouth ever since the day he was born.
What would you tell him?
Go take a hike and let somebody else have a job.
That was some real stuff right there. He has never been poor. He can take a hike. How do these cuts play into the other affordability issues we're seeing right now?
You know, Steph, you just can't separate healthcare and affordability because they go hand in hand. And that's what I've been hearing in towns like this one in Rolla, Missouri. People are trying to figure out how to pay for their medicine and also how to put food on the table. Leslie Luttrell, that woman that you just saw, she said, you know, President Trump can relate to poor people, that he was born with a gold spoon in his mouth. She lives at an extended stay motel, and she's afraid that she is going to lose SNAP, that she's going to lose Medicaid, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. She said, and here's how she described it. She said, living during Trump's second term is like living in the Great Depression. And she voted for President Trump in 2016. And she didn't vote in 2024 because she didn't have transportation. But again, she's just one person. There's so many people around the country who have the same fear, Steph.
After watching that, you can only think to yourself, what makes a person do that? What makes a president focus on his own self-interest and not the people of the country he supposedly leads? Well, Congressman Ted Lieu threw out some ideas.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. Inflation is up. Grocery prices are up. Utility costs are up. Housing prices are up. We have a bipartisan housing bill that both the Congress and Senate passed. There was supposed to be a big signing ceremony today in the Capitol, and then all of a sudden, Donald Trump decides he's not coming to sign the bill. Well, why is that? Did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Is he unable to stay awake today? What's causing him to chicken out again? Is it Taco Wednesday? Or is it side effects from a drug? We don't know. This erratic behavior of the president is very concerning. He has trouble staying awake at multiple White House events and cabinet meetings. He has clearly some weakness in one of his arms. He's got swelling in his hands. And the White House needs to come clean. What we know is there's a report saying that one person in America got this special new drug. It was a 79-year-old person who was very high profile, and this drug can only be given to someone under the compassionate use provision, meaning you do that if someone basically has a terminal illness. So we need to know, did Donald Trump get this special drug from Eli Lilly? And did he get it under that provision? And if he did, why is that the case?
So is Trump taking new drugs to make him even remotely animated during meetings? Are these new drugs causing him to go off the rails even more? Maybe. But in my view, you can't fix what's been utterly broken for decades now. And the proof is in the pudding. Trump is willing to throw his whole party under the bus to grandstand an illusion of control and victory. With the flip-flop on this housing bill, Trump may actually need the Save America Act to save his party and the presidency because it's creating enemies out of friends, if you could have ever called them friends in the first place. And if they lose seats in November, they'll claim fraud because they're the biggest bunch of sore losers you've ever seen. And that's a call coming from inside the House. Literally.
But I think it's a distraction from our real problems. I think it's ironic that we control the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the White House, and we're yelling election fraud. I mean, we won all the damn elections.
If you liked this video, please let us know by clicking that like button and subscribe to Raw America if you haven't already. And as always, please let me know your thoughts on my thoughts down in the comments below. I've been Jerry Bees for Raw America, and until next time, take it easy.